Alright, so this is the animals I could beat in a fight tier list. Essentially, we're ordering those animals down there on how confident or how I think I would fare in a fight. And the categories are I would paint the walls in their blood. They'd get a few hits in, but ultimately I would win. It would be a close one, but I'd win. 50-50 chance that I win or lose. It would be a close one, but I'd lose. I'd get a few hits in, but I would lose. And I'd get torn to fucking shreds. Also realizing I can take those off now. So I'm recording instead of watching videos and procrastinating. And, I think for the sake of this tier list, I'm assuming that we're fighting them in their environment. So, like, any sea animals, like the shark there, would be underwater, but I would get the appropriate equipment. Like, I'd be going underwater with a fucking diving suit. Still a fist fight, though. All these are going to be fist fight dash environmental, but if it's underground, then I can wear the appropriate respiratory equipment to not fucking die immediately. Otherwise, stuff like the lobster or the lobster would just win because I would drown before I even get down to its level. And speaking of, we can start with the lobster. So, obviously, their size. I mean, a big lobster is a big lobster. I've seen some where, you're holding it up like this. It's about a good 2. I've seen some 3. They can get to about 5 feet wide. But I'm gonna say that this is a kind of average lobster. That'd be the way to go. Obviously, we aren't going up against the best of the best. When we're fighting that baboon there, we aren't fighting the one that's like been to the gym and is on steroids, right? We're fighting the average animal here. So I'm thinking lobster. I mean, 1, small, very small. 2, it lacks the ability to use any tools, and its only defensive maneuvers are pinching, which human skin, I mean, you can get pinched by a lobster and be fine. Absolute worst case scenario, it might give you a small like cut, but it's not gonna kill you. And if you just pick it up by its tail, you win. That plus the fact that I'm like Nova Scotian, so I just have the natural advantage against any like lobster in a fight. I think I would paint the walls in its blood. That one's pretty easy. Zebra, however, I don't think I'd win because zebras have the speed advantage. All right, they can fucking run around and shit. So in a fist fight, yeah, I might get 2 or 3 punches, but ultimately it can just run around. It can stampede. It's fucking 500 pounds of stripy horse. I think I don't think I'd get absolutely thrashed. I might be able to like throw a few punches, put up a bit of a fight, but it wouldn't be much of a victory. I think I'd get a few hits in, but I would lose. I'd say that's a fair. Mouse, I'm gonna be honest, no debating a mouse. It's about yay big. I've fucking, and they don't fight. They don't run up your leg or anything. They scurry around on the floor and try and hide under the couch. I've killed mice by stepping on them, by hitting them with brooms. I mean, yeah, no, I'd paint the wall with a mouse's blood. Not that it'd have a whole lot, so like tiny room, but still. Deer. I'm thinking same reason for zebra, but because of the environment, because it's so woody, I might be able to get an advantage on a deer. It would run away instantly. I wouldn't have a chance in hell of catching it. That part's gone. So, would it come to the stalemate then? Would it be a 50-50 chance? Well, not really, because I'd still win. It's forfeiting. But I'd be hesitant to say that it's a 100% chance though. I'd have to like get a rock from the environment, like a rather large rock, maybe like climb up a tree and wait for the deer on top of the tree and like, you know, when I see it just fucking, like, jump in and cave its skull in with the rock, but based off of the deer's ability to, like, smell, it wouldn't get anywhere close to me. If it's forced in proximity, I think I'd stand a good chance. So I'd feel good putting it in, like, it would be a close one, but I'd win, or, like, they'd get a few hits in, but ultimately I'd win. And that one's a toughie. It has the antlers, so it is a male. I think I'd put it in be a close one, but I'd win. I don't think I'd ultimately 100% like guarantee kill it like I would the mouse or the lobster, obviously. But I'm confident that I could kill the deer. So some form of lizard here. I can't really see the face, but just judging off of its general appearance, it's a bearded dragon. Again, they can't really do much against a human. And they have that tail, big vulnerability, just pick it up, fucking start swinging it by its tail and just smash it into the fucking table or whatever. I'd say I'm confident. I'm not going to put it in, it would paint the walls, because these just stand no chance. These are like 100%, they're not hitting me, I'm killing them before they even have the chance. This one here, it kind of has a chance. Like, it could get a few hits in, but I'm not losing to it by any means. It would be a slightly more fair fight. Squid, however, again, assuming I'm underwater, I've seen videos of these things tearing up fucking whales. They grab on, they pull in. I don't think I'm even getting a hit on. I'd be fucking shredded. Hell, even if I had a fucking harpoon gun, I'd probably still get thrashed by the squid. Bear. Okay, I'm gonna move the zebra up. Bear, I'd put right there. I'd get a few hits in, but I would lose. Zebra, I'd call a close one, just because, like, maybe there's some, like, wrestling potential. Hesitant with that, but I want to save this for, like a bear. Yeah, I kind of know its weaknesses. They have poor gag reflex, and I mean, obviously I'm not killing it. If it's to the blood, I'm still dying. But I can probably get a few punches. I can abuse some of its weaker aspects just from knowing about a bear. But yeah, I'd lose. No doubt. It's a 500-pound animal, all meat with fucking claws. It's meant to kill shit, and yet somehow survives mainly off grain and berries. A hippo or rhino, either way, that's going in the same category. I'd get a few hits. I'd get fucking shredded by it. I'm not even getting a few hits. The bear, I can probably get a few hits. It might not do anything, but I'm getting a few. I'm giving somewhat of a fight. That is fucking twice the size of a bear, and just as thirsty, if not more. More people have died from hippos than they have from bears and sharks combined, I guarantee. I don't stand a chance against the hippo. Sea turtle, though, this is another one. It's going right up they'd get a few hits in. Just because of the shell, I can't really break the shell, so I have to go in either from its head, which then it can bite, or from its tail, or not tail, but, like, you know, leg parts. Again, not quite great potential, but I think I'd win. I can't imagine losing to a turtle, even in its natural environment. Because, yeah, I could probably swim faster than me, but to the death, ultimately I'd win. No doubt. They don't have much in the way of attacks. They're almost all defense. Ooh, tiger. Tiger, I think, same thing. I'd probably put it with the bear. I'd say I stand just about as much of a chance against a bear. They're trading some of their size of the bear, some of the defenses, for some of the speed. I don't think I'd just keep up with the tiger. I think same reasons, though. I could probably, like, get a few hits in before I get mauled to death, but ultimately I'd die against a tiger. Wolf, though, in a blood fight, if it's one-on-one, which I'm assuming these are, I'm not going to be taking on a pack of fucking zebras or a pack of any of these. I'd probably get shredded by just about all of them but the mouse. Wolf, however, a single wolf, I think it'd be a close one, but I'd ultimately win. I think it's got a nice strong bite. It's got those claws that can like really, really dig in, but ultimately it isn't that big. It's got vulnerable legs. You could probably just like fucking snap one of the legs, just give it a real good jerk down a leg. Once it's down one leg, it's pretty much dead. Take out the second one, can't even move. Just find a big rock at that point. I think for sure I'd get a few good hits on, but ultimately once I abuse its like weak legs on that one, I think I'd win. Parrot, I'd get a good few hits in. Generally speaking, a parrot would have a weak bone structure and soft neck, so you could probably just pick it up by the neck and just give it a jerk like a chicken, fucking dead. But it's got sharp talons, not the worst, not like an eagle, and it's got a good beak. I think it'd get a few good hits in, but I think ultimately I'd probably die. I'd probably win against the parrot. I want to die against a parrot. Kimono dragon. Dragon wrestling is a thing. Most people do it. All you have to do is get under the jaw and like lift it up and then sit on it. That part's easy. I can immobilize it. Problem comes in killing it, because they're pretty resilient to death. And unless I had a weapon, like just bare hands, I think it'd be a close one, but I'd ultimately lose. Like I say, I think I can sit there with it in a sleeper hold. I think eventually, though, it'll just wiggle itself out and chomp chomp until I'm dead. I don't think I'm really realistically have a way of killing a kimono dragon, especially in its environment, because it's all sand. It's all shit. There's no big rocks to pick up and start clubbing. Not really. Don't think I like my chances the kimono dragon here. Lion, probably same reason for the tiger. It's got a bit of hair. I could probably like, you know, get on and like do something with its mane, but other than that, I think it's killing me. I'd get a few good hits in, but ultimately I'd be dead against a tiger. Lion. Both of them. I don't think I'd really win. Eagle, though. Eagle, I think, is going to be our first 50-50 chance, because it's got good talons, it's got a good diving attack. If it just keeps abusing that diving attack, just I'd probably die. If it decides, however, to ever land or get me a second to like catch it, like if it just flaps in front of me for a bit and I can like get it, then it's dead. No doubt. Birds, way too soft bone structure, and in general I'd win. The only reason I'm saying I 50-50 on that eagle is because it has that diving attack it can just abuse. Rhino, no fucking chance. I get shredded. Again, maybe like a punch, but it wouldn't affect it before I get stampeded, impaled on the horn, whatever you want to call. The rhino would probably kill me. This bird here, it's a small bird, not sure what breed. I'm gonna put it up and I would paint it, the walls in their blood. It's tiny. In a deathmatch, all I need to do, even if I can't catch it, again, it's a deathmatch though. One of us is going to have to die, and it ain't gonna be me to that thing, right? I could pick up rocks and throw it at it. If I can catch it, it's just an easy like salt and pepper grinder. And it's dead. Panda Bear. Panda Bear, I'd be shredded to a Panda Bear. The only advantage I have is its laziness. That's not much of an advantage when there's nothing really in the environment. Like, maybe I could sharpen a bamboo stick and, like, just jab it, but ultimately, no. I don't, I don't, I'll put it up and I'd get a few hits in. They may not be effective hits, but I'd get a few before I would lose. I wouldn't put up much of a fair fight. Parrot. I'm hesitant to put it in I would paint his blood. It's definitely in one of these two. Because I can pick the ferret up, and same thing with the lizard, I can just bat it against something. It's got the same structural integrity of a fucking sock. And 9 times out of 10, they can just kill themselves from eating the wrong thing, because their digestive tracts are just so long and skinny. I think I would paint its blood. It might get like a scratch in or something, like a tiny bite, but it wouldn't do anything. I've been bitten by worse than a ferret. I think ultimately I could just pick it up and beat it against a table until it's dead without it even getting a scratch in. Kind of makes me want to move the lizard here up, but I think the lizard stands a bit of a chance because, again, they're a bit more rigid, and they've got a bit more, like, they can flip around and not just immediately be socked against the table and die. Alright, the gorilla? I'd just fucking die. There's no putting up a fight against a gorilla. Especially without a weapon. You're running in with your fists. You maybe get a large rock. Doesn't matter. The thing is how many times bigger than you. And it hasn't even trained for this. You're gonna run in with a rock, and immediately it's just gonna a bang, and you're fucking dead. That's it. After that first hit, you're knocked out. It's dragging away its new sex doll. No chance. Baboon though, I think I could. I think I'd stand a bit more of a chance against a. You know what? 50-50. I'd put that in 50-50 because it has the knowledge of tools, but it's not that much bigger than me, and I'm a bit more coordinated. I'd say it probably has a bit more strength, and the arms give it an advantage. It can just, like, really reach out. But I think other than that, it'd be about 50-50, honestly. I don't think I'd necessarily win against it, but I don't think I'd definitely lose against it. Of course, I have the better knowledge of tools, but it also has a knowledge of tools. Yeah. Just because I'm a bit more coordinated, but again, it's got a bit more of that primal savagery. I'd really have to be in the mindset to kill a baboon, a orangutan, a whatever this monkey is. But 50-50 I think would be fair. So, I don't know if that's supposed to be a llama, an alpaca. I think it's supposed to be a llama. Because alpacas tend to be a bit smaller. Llama, its only defense is spitting. It would be a close one, but I'd win. Yeah, I can get a few spitting attacks off. Hell, it might even get a few kicks or something. Ultimately, though, I think I can get on it. I think I can, like, wrangle with it, and again, just get a large rock. Most of my fighting strategies revolve around just getting a large rock and caving its skull in with it. Shark. Where would I want to set a shark? Shark, I think I'd get a few hits in, but ultimately I'd die. They're weak on their nose. It'd be a close one, but I think I'd win just because of that one advantage. Because you don't need to bop it on the nose hard. Yeah, my punches are weaker in water, but if I can just get it a bop on the nose, I think no doubt I'd win. At that point, it's dazed, it's confused. I'll put it right in 50-50. You know what? It depends on the day. It depends on if I'm feeling good enough to get near the shark, or like, well, it's coming at me, and just give it a bop on the nose. And then it depends on how likely the shark is to, like, hit me while it's dazed and confused, which not really. I think getting the bop on the nose. I think after that though, there's not really a good strategy for killing the shark. Maybe I could like get some of the fins off, immobilize it, and then just keep feeding it while it's down. But even then, it can still like do this thing and bite. I think it'd be 50-50 against a shark. That might just be me being generous to myself, though. Elephant, I'd get shredded, especially because that's a fucking. I believe that is a Asian elephant, which tends to be bigger and stronger than the African elephant. Fun fact: you can tell by the shape of the ear. Asian elephants have ears that look like Asia, and African elephants have ears that look like Africa, and those don't look like Africa to me. Asian elephants tend to be bigger. I think I'd just get destroyed. I'd get close, and it would just pick me up by its nose. It would step on me. It'd impale me on its tusk. Doesn't matter. The only thing I'd have going for it is it might be a bit docile, so I can probably get in close to like get a hit, but one hit's not going to do a lot. The only way I'd be good in a fight against an elephant is if I have prep time to build like a punji pit of sorts or something to like chase the elephant into. And I'd say this is more like me being airdropped into an arena with the creature. I don't really have time to prepare, and I sure as hell don't have time to. Well, depends on how docile the elephant decides to be. I might have time to build a giant pit in the middle of the arena and coax the elephant into it. I'm not really relying on that strategy though, because I'd have to dig the hole with my bare hands. It would be a losing battle. I don't really have a way of dealing damage to the elephant in a fist fight. Snakes, however, that one in particular, not a poisonous snake, I do not believe. Yeah, the bite would be one hell of a bitch, but I think ultimately I could kill the snake. I think it'd be a close one because, like, my only two strategies for killing the snake are, like, maybe pulling it apart, and if it bites on me, I don't really have much. I could probably pick it up by its tail and, like, whip it against some rocks, like the ferret and the lizard. I think it'd be close, but I think ultimately I'd lose against a snake. I don't think that's really no, I wouldn't lose unless the snake's poisonous. If it's poisonous, I'd lose, but I don't think that particular snake is poisonous, so if I'm wrong, in your head canon, you can move the poisonous snake down to about there. I think ultimately it'd be close, but I'd win. It might, like, latch onto my arm or something. At that point, I'd have to, like, pull it out and whip it against some rocks. I'd win. Starfish, do they have any way of defending themselves? Don't they just, like, spit out their stomach and that's it? They can, like, heal infinitely, but that doesn't matter if I can just pull it to the surface, leave it on the beach for a few days, have a fucking week off, and just let it dry out on the beach. Get a large rock and, like, grind it into a powder if I really have to. I don't think a starfish really has a way of defending itself. The only way it has a chance is its batshit regeneration, but even then doesn't really matter when you can just leave it on a hot rock to dry out and grind it into a powder. Crocodile, or is that an alligator? I can't tell because I don't see the snout. It'd be a close one, but I'd lose. Simply because most times you hunt them, you have to have like a gun or something. Wrestling them might be a fair fight. You know what? I'd put that here. I'd put that in the. I'd get a few hits in, but ultimately I'd lose. Because no doubt I wouldn't win, especially not with any weapons. Like what? I can wrestle it. I can hold it in that spot, but it's stronger. Eventually, it'll get out. It's not really a fair fight. I'd probably die to it. Horse. I'm going to assume the horse is a draft horse, like one of the big fuckers. I had to walk. I didn't have to. I decided to walk through the draft horse barn at the exhibition once, and you're walking through, and it's your head's about the same level of the horse's ass. It's a bit taller than you. The ass sits at about 6 feet high. It's got these hooves that are like fucking quarter pounder round. I don't know why I just used the quarter pounder as a unit of measurement for diameter, but it's about that. It's about that thick. A draft horse. I mean, even just a wild horse. Like if I went to Sable Island without any weapons, I'd probably die. I wouldn't even call it a close one. I'd get a few good hits in, but especially after that experience of walking through the draft horse barn, you look to the right, you look to the left, it's horse's hind legs, and they're fucking massive. Like one kick, you've got a shattered rib cage, and then what's worse is in the barn, you bounce to the next one, get kicked again, just ping pong ball. But even just one, I think one kick from a horse, one like stampede, I'd be down for the count. And at that, it's just a matter of the horse running me over repeatedly. Leopard or cheetah. That's a cheetah. And the only thing a cheetah's got going for it, it's speed. It can run fast. That's it. Other than that, it likes. It's that one. It's that the character in the RPG. You spent all the points in speed, so it can have first round every turn. But whenever it hits, it does like 9 damage. I'd put it in 50-50. I don't think my chances are great against a cheetah. I think it still has claws and stuff that could kill me. But really, the only big advantage it has going is speed. Other than that, its eyesight is terrible. It gets spooked easy. It usually just gets ganked whenever it gets a kill and doesn't get to eat that night. I'd say 50-50 on a cheetah. It just mainly depends on if I can get a large rock and tire it out in time. Alright, and clownfish, what does it have going for it? It can hide in an enemy, but doesn't really matter when I can crush the whole thing. Again, in its environment, I mean, best chance I have, pick it up, bring it out, set it on ground, and just start wailing on it. Best chance it has, it hides in the enemy until I find a large enough rock just to crush the whole fucking thing. I think ultimately I'd win. I don't think there's a question there. It's not one of those fish that has like poisonous spines or some way of saying fuck you. At best, like I say, it can hide, and I can just crush its entire home. House cat, they'd get a few hits, but ultimately I'd win. And I'm just saying that based off like fighting house cats. They're gonna scratch, they're gonna like get shit. It kind of hurts, but it's still no question that you'd win against a cat. Octopus, I'd get a few hits, but ultimately I would lose. I think I have better chances against an octopus than a squid, because octopuses tend to be just weaker creatures. Squids, they're fucking bloodthirsty. They'll go after entire whales. They don't stop at anything. Octopuses, they tend to be a bit more docile. They're a bit easier to take care of, but I think still in its environment, it can like wrap around, it can suffocate. It's not a fair fight. By any means, it's not fair. A crab, however, I could squish a crab. I won't put it on same level. No, I will put it on same level as lobster. If anything, I'd give the lobster a bit of an advantage, because a crab you can literally just grab its ass end and win. The only way the crab has like any way of fighting is if you're facing it. But if you get a sneak attack on that bitch, you grab it, you throw it under a rock, and it's dead. I don't think I'd struggle too hard against a crab. I think I can get it without it getting an attack on. A dog? A dog I'll put with a cat. Pretty much same reason I fought with dogs. They have a good bite strength. They've got like a okay claws. I'm gonna compare adult dog. Clearly, in a puppy, I can just salt, pepper. Just it's dead. That size doggo though, I don't. I think an adult dogger. I think it could get a few hits on me, but ultimately I'd win against the dogger. Peacock, it put all its effort into style. You have to walk up and punt the fucker, pick it up by its neck and give it a shake. It's got no attacks. It can maybe peck at your foot, but again, by then you can already pick up the guy and just kill it. No hesitation there. Obviously, I'd win against the peacock. Sheep, sheep I'll put in, it would be a close one, but I'd win simply because I'm not sure how I'd actually kill the sheep. It doesn't have many attacks. They'd get a few hits in. Ultimately, I'm not dying to a sheep. If I'm locked in a one-on-one fight, there's no way I'm going to die against a sheep. It's just a matter of figuring out how to kill it. But it has a ramming attack. Once I'm on the ground, it can't really do much. It's a sheep. A ram, maybe. That one would be closer, but a sheep, not really. Swans. Swans are scary. They're like geese, but evolved. They're just as... I know you see videos of people picking it up by the neck and throwing it. If I can get its neck, I'd win. Otherwise, it might be a harder fight. I don't think I'd necessarily lose to it. Swan... yeah. No, I don't think I'd lose to a swan, but it certainly wouldn't be a clean-cut victory. Is that supposed to be an owl? I think this is supposed to be an owl. The image kind of got cut off. Owl. I can't snap its neck. Because the neck just rotates. No matter how much I try, it's just going to keep going. Large rock strategy would work, but again, I'd have to catch the owl, bring it down, and then have the rock at the ready to, like, clobber its face in. But I don't think it necessarily has the power to beat me. I think... it wouldn't be a close one. It'd be a matter of catching it and beating it in. I don't think it necessarily has power to kill a human. It might. If it hits the right spot, like the neck, it might. But not really. Fucking whale? I'll just put that in the... I get torn to fucking shreds, because there's no way I'm damaging a whale. Not with the biggest rock in the world would I be able to damage a whale. They're too big. Ultimately, they'd win either because I run out of oxygen or because it just slaps me with its tail and I concuss and drown. I don't win against the whale whatsoever. No chance. Seal? I'll put seal in the... It'd be a close one, but I lose. I don't think I'm confident against a seal. I think they've got some pretty mean attacks, especially if it's one of the big ones. If it decides to do that belly slap thing, I'm on the ground. It wouldn't be a close victory. I think I'd ultimately lose, but it might be a bit of a close one. I'm trying to struggle other than like the belly slap tactic of the seal, what it can do. But most seals are big, and most of the time that works for them. I don't think I'm winning against a seal, but I don't think I'm also necessarily just outright dead immediately. A duck, in this case a mallard, you can tell by the green head. We'll put that right up here. I don't think a duck really has an... What can it do? It can like gnaw at me with its beak. Not really that big of an attack when I can just pick up the whole duck. Just like a hamburger. Hamburger the duck and just clobber its head in with a rock, snap its neck. I don't think I'd lose against a duck in any way. A cow, however, I'm gonna say 50-50 on the cow. I feel confident in putting it in 50-50. It's got it's got a tough exterior. There's no real way of getting in the cow. Maybe I could like punch it but then my hands would be raw before the cow is even like close to being dead. If I get a large rock, I could probably get its head in. I don't think necessarily I win, but I don't think the cow necessarily wins either. I'd feel confident with a 50-50 against a cow. They're big, sometimes they can be really mean, sometimes they're docile. I'd say depends on the cow. I mean, that Holstein, it's a dairy cow, it's a female, they aren't really aggressive. I'd probably win, but it just depends on if I can find a large enough rock to kill it before it decides to fucking kick me. Dolphin? Dolphin be a tough one. I think I'd get a few hits in on the dolphin. I think again the bop on the nose, but it'd be worse than a shark because they're quick. They can spin around. They can confuse and disorientate. They got a wicked tail slap sometimes. I don't think I'm necessarily. I don't think I'm winning against the dolphin at all. But I also think I can get a few hits in before I lose. I don't think it'd be close. The dolphin's swimming away relatively unscathed. But I gave it a what for. At maximum effort, I got like a few punches in. It's leaving with maybe a bruise compared to my dead. Yeah, I'd feel comfortable with that. And goat, goat, I'm gonna say. See, it's got the horns, so my usual rock attack doesn't really work because I just hit its horns. And unless I'm gonna chip away at its horns until those are dead, no. I don't think I'd necessarily win. I don't think the goat would necessarily win. I think that goat would have to go in 50-50. Simply because I don't have an easy way of killing it. And if it decides to ram me hard enough, I'm on the ground and it can trample, it can break ribs, whatever it needs to do. At that point, I'm dead. If I can find a decent way of taking it out, though, then I'm good. But I don't think there's a decent way of taking a goat out, just because it's a bit fortified. So yeah, I'd say that's a fair tier list. If you're gonna send animals after me, I'd probably say water-based animals to try and kill me are not gonna do it. A gorilla, I'd probably have a fair chance against like a hippo or a rhino. I'd say if you're gonna send an animal to kill me, probably an hippo would be your easiest, simply because those are endangered. I don't know how you'd source them. Gorilla, I think I'd fare a bit better, but not a whole lot. And if you try and send any of these to try and kill me, I don't know what to say other than leave a return address so I can send you some fresh fucking lobster. Yeah, yeah, I'd say that's a fair count on what I can and cannot beat. Anyway, that'll be it for now. See ya.